I just turned my microphone off. We have some people. Oh, sorry, forgot something. We have people from the States who are a part of our ministry. Nick, you done me proud. I got to stop for a second. Did he do great or what? Sorry, guys. Let me take this clip off. There we go. I am very proud to say I'm untangled. Nick is a disciple of mine, and I'm really proud to say that. We've been together. I'm going to get into that. My name is Brian Feeney. I'm the General Overseer of Dominion Faith Ministries. And before we start, I'd like all of the people from DFM to stand up, just so they can see all of you guys who are local that are in the ministry. These are, hey, Sam. You guys can sit down. I'm the shortest one of the bunch, as you can tell. I'm very brief. I don't speak long. I'm going to get right to the point, and I'm going to share a short word from what God is saying, and I'm going to tell you how we came to be. I was in a restaurant over 20 years ago. I got saved in 1989. I am not going to share my personal testimony today. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to skip into how did we get where we are. Is this on? Okay, great. So I was in a restaurant, had the call of God in my life, baptized in the Holy Spirit February 9th or February 8th, 1990, 5 days before my daughter was born, changed my life forever. I knew I was going to preach forever. And the problem, Marty and I were talking, the problem with that is that my whole life I've been rejected from being a minister, wasn't allowed, told it wasn't good enough, told people don't like the way you talk, all this kind of stuff. I was in a restaurant with an apostle, and we were eating, and I saved it. God gave me a vision for my ministry, and it reads, building the kind of disciples that will build the kinds of churches that will disciple the nations. And God planted a seed inside me about what he was looking for. Guys, that was like 25 years ago. More than that, it was like 27 years ago. And in 2002, I was ordained into the ministry by the late Dr. Myles Munroe. I was friends with him. He's from the Bahamas. And yeah, what do we do? I need to do something. We're Deja. Come here for 1 sec. I want to show you the amazingness of God. Watch this. This is Tradija, and she is my daughter in Jesus, and a real daughter, right?
Yes.
Okay. New Year's Eve, I think 2016, going into 17 or 15 or 16, something like that. I'm not doing ministry, but I'm always witnessing to people, always talking to people about God, but I'm not doing ministry. And I'm driving for Uber to make some money, and it's New Year's Eve, and I get a call to pick up this lady. And she's going to a church service. And so I look on the screen and it says she's going to church. And I went, oh, this is cool. She gets in the car. Hello, and right away I picked up the accent and I said, where are you from? Light bulb. I was so excited. I said, do you know Dr. Myles Munroe? She said, yeah, I went to his church a couple times. And I said, we need to do a Bible study.
Yes, we did.
So I grabbed her, and Jonas is her husband. I just married them last year. I said, let's do a Bible study, because I had it in me to do ministry, but it wasn't coming out. There was no birth of the vision. There was no birth of anything. And so I got Tradija to come on board, and she was the first one to come to a DFM Bible study. And we went to a friend's house, a friend realtor's house. And you don't have to see a lot. I don't want to put you under pressure, but where were you at when I met you?
When I first met Brian, I had just rededicated my life to God like 2 months ago. You were picking me up because I was at a party, and I'm like, I need to pray in, but I have to be here with Jesus. And it was so funny when I met him, because in the car, the first question he asked me was, are you reading the Bible? And it really stumped me in that moment. And I remember being in the car and just being in tears going into church, and I still went back to the party, but it changed my life forever. So.
And we have been very close since.
Yes.
Thank you, Deja. Deja was the transition from being a minister to being a father. And wow, I just felt that. Poof. Yeah, I know. Okay. So here's what we do. Can you go to the next slide, please? By the way, a lady in New Zealand prepared these slides for me. She's a part of the ministry and she joins online. So it was October of 2021. In August, I jumped on TikTok, but I was doing a video one time and the Lord spoke to me as I was giving a final goodbye. I said the words pray, read, worship. I said it backwards and it didn't sound right. And I didn't know what it meant. Then it was read, pray, worship. Every person who's involved with me can go read, pray, worship. That is the foundation stone for their Christian life. That is what they do. We do not vary. And here's the reason why. There are three ingredients for a foundation of a church. There's a believer, a disciple, and then the church. And that foundation, no matter what, is read, pray, worship. And here's why. God said this to me. He goes, the three essential ingredients of a foundation are read, which is Jesus, pray, which is the Holy Spirit, and worship is God, because God seeks true worshipers. And God said, do not vary from that. Stay with that. Okay, so in 2020, a couple of us started to get together and then COVID hit. So then we ended up not being able to meet, but it's been almost 4 years now. We meet on Zoom twice a week and I do discipleship training with people from all over the world and locally. And we have a closed Facebook group where everybody records what they're reading in the Bible. And here's the reason why I do that. Because I've been walking with God for over 34 years, but the one thing a leader never does is ask people if they're reading their Bible, and if they are, what is he saying to you and how much are you reading? How would you like to, honestly, how would you like to have a brand new believer come up to you and say, I read the Bible twice this year and the New Testament 5 extra times? First year. That's the people that I'm associated with. That's the type of, I'm speaking of Vanya, by the way. You guys all know, Vanya is one of my leaders. She's out of Massachusetts. She's on fire for God. That is the foundation. And I'm just going to quickly share something with you from the Bible that I want everybody to see. Can we go to the next slide, please? I've never, by the way, these guys are going to be laughing at me later because I never do slides. I never do notes. It's true. Yeah, she did a great job. I want to point out something to you. You said the verse, without a vision, the people perish. The word vision in Hebrew there literally means that people stumble and grope in darkness with no direction. It's not death. It just means they're groping in the darkness and they're going all over the place, but they don't know where they're going. Okay? Listen to this. God is a pattern God. The reason why he calls himself Father is because the Hebrew and the Greek word both come from the word patra, which means paternal. But here's the other thing. He's not just the source. He's also from the word pattern. God is a pattern God. And one of the big mistakes of the church for the last 100 years is that they've not been building according to a pattern. They've just been getting together. They've been groping without a vision. Listen to what God says to Moses in Exodus 25, verse 40. He says, see that you make them after the pattern which was shown to you on the mountain. Moses was given a very specific pattern to follow on the mountain. People don't talk about that. Exodus 36:1. Now, this is what happens when you start to build according to the pattern. Now, Bezalel and Eliab are very skillful person in whom the Lord has put skill and understanding to know how to perform all the work in the construction of the sanctuary. When you decide that you're going to build according to the pattern, God will stir up the hearts and release his spirit on the people to do the work. He doesn't give you people to do the work until you align yourself with the pattern. Very specific. Next screen, please. I told you I track fast, but it's okay. You may see it, but you won't build it. In Chronicles, David records, but God said to me, you should not build a house for my name because you're a man of war and shed blood. He said to me, your son Solomon is the one who shall build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him. Listen, I have chosen him to be a son to me, and I will be a father to him. we skim over this. He didn't say that Solomon would be a king, an apostle, a prophet, a great leader. He said he would be a son. The next step to the pattern is that the people who are to build it have got to be sons and daughters, and let God be their father. I will establish his kingdom forever. He is, if he absolutely performs my commandments and my ordinances, it's done now. And so one of the things about God, when he chose David, he said, I've chosen a man who will do all my will. He didn't say he was perfect. I know it's going to bug people. He didn't say David was perfect. He said he would do all my will. Next slide. Fathers prepare for the future. Then David gave to his son Solomon the plan of the portion of the temple, its buildings, its storehouses, its upper. David literally had the entire blueprint for how to build. And he also saved up, and I cut them out because it was too much, but David actually stored up all the gold, the silver, the brass, the wood, the bronze, everything that was needed to build the temple. David stored it up so that Solomon could build. But David didn't get to build. All this said David, the Lord had made me understand in writing his hand upon me all the details of this, and there's that word again, pattern. Now, the question is going to be, why you keep doing that? Well, let's jump forward. Let's jump forward. Now, when Solomon had finished praying, fire came down from the heavens. Now, this is really important. And consumed the burnt offering and sacrifice, and the glory of the Lord filled the house. When? When he finished praying and dedicating the house. If you don't build his house according to his pattern, his glory will not rest on it. That's why a lot of churches don't have the presence of God, because they don't care about his pattern. They don't care about his purposes. They don't care about his vision. They just think, everybody just thinks he's going to show. No, he's not. He's not going to show up. The priest could not enter the house of the Lord because the glory of the Lord filled the house. I'm telling you today, it don't matter how big you are, how small you are. If you resolutely dedicate yourself to the pattern of God and to build according to his will, his glory will rest on the house. And God always taught me a long time ago, if you want the profundity of a truth, apply the opposite. If there's no glory in a house, it's a testimony that you're not building his house. Okay? Next one. Knowing who Jesus is determines on what you build and how to build. So many people read this verse, but this was the verse that wrecked me over 20 years ago. And I got that vision about building the kinds of churches, disciples that will disciple the nations, but I didn't understand it. I was too young, but it was built into me. Listen to this. Now, when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he was asking disciples, who do you say that the Son of Man is? Who do you people say the Son of Man is? When I'm discipling people and people come to Jesus Christ, watch, I just want to show you how good this is. Jonas, what do I tell people about reading the Bible from the get-go? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Tell us to read the book of John 3 times.
Then? Then? What's the one question that everybody has to answer by the reading John 3 times?
Who is Jesus Christ?
Everybody that reads the Bible in our ministry, I tell them to forget about religion and forget about my opinion about Jesus Christ. I need you to tell me who he is. Jesus said, tell me who I am. Who am I? And he said, who do you say that I am? And then Peter says, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God. Now listen, that revelation about being the Christ, the Son of the living God, made Jesus say in verse 18, he says, I say unto you that you are Peter, and upon this rock. Now listen to me. The word Peter and the word rock are different. They're different in the Greek. One is Petro, one is Petros, okay? Jesus was speaking of himself. He said, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not overpower it, and I will give you the kingdom, the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Now here's the point. People will learn who Jesus is, and then they will be qualified to build. You learn who Jesus is, and then you're qualified to build. And that's why there's a great brokenness in the church, is because nobody is taught or nobody is shown who Jesus is. And then listen, I can guarantee it. Nobody in this room, I can guarantee it, almost nobody in this room has ever been told when you get saved that God is implementing you to become a builder. It is the foundation of Christianity. It is the very foundation of Christianity that you would come to Christ and build. That's why people come to church and they don't soul win. I have been a soul winner. It is the most unthankful, I'm just being honest. It is the most unthankful thing in the entire world. As a matter of fact, I'll be honest with you. I was in a Pentecostal church. I graduated from a Pentecostal Bible college, and I really cared about souls. That's all I cared about. My pastor said to me, one morning, I had 4 people come down to the front, give their lives to Christ. And he came up to me after the service and he said, he says, that's embarrassing. I said, what? He goes, well, I get up here in front of these 1,000 people, nice suit, share a great message. I do an altar call and 4 people come to the front to get saved. And he goes, I know darn well I had nothing to do with them giving their lives to Christ. It was you. He said, listen, you guys who've been around the church for a while, he says this to me, he goes, he says, you brought enough people to church to create your own income to support you to do this full time in our church. Here's a question for you. Why don't churches have evangelists on staff? Why do churches only invite pastors to church and say, oh, this is Pastor so-and-so? As goes the shepherd, so go the sheep. If you don't reach the lost, people won't reach the lost. I practice everything I preach to my family. I practice everything I preach to my family. And I've been investing in them with no promises, no guarantees. I just know God is faithful. We have wanted to get together in a building for 3-4 years. We don't come from money. We don't come from great influence other than Jesus Christ. And we are waiting for the Lord to open up a door for us to find a home where we can actually begin to implement the vision that God has put within my heart. So in a brief, I did it fast. I know I did it fast, guys. I'm not long-winded. That is the essence of Dominion Faith Ministry. And the reason why it says Dominion Faith Ministry, when I was in the Bahamas and getting ordained, I was walking on the beach with my daughter in the morning, and I said to my daughter, I said, God's calling me to ministry, and everybody's got a ministry name, and I don't want to call it Brian Feeney Ministries. Like, I don't care about Brian Feeney. I want, what am I? And my daughter says to me, she goes, God's going to give you a name. I kid you not. I get ordained at night, and Miles Monroe's brother-in-law walks up to me at the altar after the service, and he says, come here, I got something to tell you. And I walk off to the side, and this is all he said, guys. This is all he said. He said, did you know that Canada was the only country ever founded as a dominion? And he walked away. And I went, oh, because guys, I can't lie. I got huge faith. I got big faith. I got dominion faith. I believe God to take this country back. It says on the walls in our parliamentary building in Ottawa that he will have dominion from sea to shining sea in this country. And Dominion Faith Ministries is what gave birth that very moment when he told me that. We are a dominion, but we are dominion takers. We are dominion makers. I'm done. I know you want to share now.